a KQED television production.
Another umami bomb. Umami bomb.
Check Please Bay Area is made possible by the members of KQED and by Total Wine & More offers over 8,000 wines, 2,500 beers, and 3,000 spirits with specialists on hand to provide advice on any item. Now open in Mountain View, Pleasant Hill, and Fremont.
La Tour Angèle Artisan Oils, French-inspired and handcrafted in Northern California. La Tour Angèle creates natural, healthy cooking oils that add new flavor to everyday dishes. Sutter Health CPMC, investing in community care for more than 150 years, including 2 new smart hospitals. Your city, your hospital. CPMC2020.org.
Oakland International Airport. Now with flights all over the world. iFlyOAK.com.
Mattress systems from European Sleepworks, working to improve comfort and wellness for over 40 years. At Adeline and Ashby in Berkeley. Online at sleepworks.com.
Natural and engineered stone, designer tiles. IRG has over 250 choices and 10,000 slabs. IRG in Brisbane and Dublin, and at marblecompany.com.
When you do that. Hi, I'm Leslie Sabraco. Welcome to Check Please Bay Area, the show where regular Bay Area residents review and talk about their favorite restaurants. We have 3 guests, and each one recommends one of their favorite spots, and the other 2 go check them out to see what they think. A few years ago, Pete Schlossberg quit his corporate job to turn his hobby into a wicked ale. Then it was a chocolate kick, and what better than pairing the 2? It's all about food, flavors, experiences, and education, and he has the charts to prove it. And registered nurse Carlo Medina brims with enthusiasm for everything Oakland. He organizes tours of Oakland, he supports Oakland businesses, and of course, he loves the incredible diversity of eateries in Oakland. But first, Kristen O'Brien is in the tech industry. That said, she values the good old days and the traditions associated with them. The cable car delivers her to the historical building with gold lettering on the windows. And as the big brass doors open, she steps back in time. On California Street to the Tadich Grill.
Tadich Grill, it's the oldest restaurant west of the Mississippi River and the 3rd oldest restaurant in the country. I'm David Hanna, General Manager of the Tadich Grill. Well, we've been open since 1849. It's been Croatian owned since day one. We started off as a tent on the Long Wharf serving coffee and mesquite grilled fish to the merchant sailors as they would come in off their boats. And we've been grilling fish over mesquite charcoal ever since. Our cioppino is a very unique cioppino. The recipe is house secret. We actually have our cookbook that has a cioppino recipe in it, except for the one secret ingredient that we use. And we're not telling anybody what that is.
The baker brings the tree every morning. We go through about 100, 120 loaves of bread a day. All traditional home-style cutting and serving. That's how we serve the bread and butter in Tadich Grill.
Just the whole vibe starts right here at the front door. You get to sit here at the bar and see the show happen, I like to call it, where it's a bunch of bartenders making people laugh, making people great drinks, and having a great time. People like to come in here and know what they're getting. They've had it before. There's no need for us to change it. And it's old school, good service, great food, a lot of food, stiff drinks. It's definitely the place to come if you're coming to San Francisco.
All right, Kristen, how did you discover the Tadich Grill, and how long have you been going? I mean, this place is an institution.
I have been going to Tadich Grill since I moved to San Francisco, probably about 10 years ago. The first time I went, it was almost like a scene out of a movie. My husband and I took the cable car down California Street. We stepped off, and right there was just this beacon of history. And from that moment forward, every experience I've had in Tadich Grill has been that exact same scene over and over. I go for the food. The cioppino there is really what I'm most passionate about. You know, cioppino is a dish that was invented in San Francisco. And Tadich Grill is the oldest restaurant in California. So when you have it there, you're having a San Francisco invented dish and a historic location.
We're talking about 1887.
Tadich Grill was started a year before the Civil War. Isn't that incredible? And it arrives in this huge bowl with the Tadich Grill emblem on it. It is this beautiful, deep red broth, and it has huge pieces of seafood. It is a cornucopia of the sea. There's shrimp, there's fish, scallops, mussels.
I must say, I like making chiapino at home, and I think my version is the best. But next to my version, I have to agree, this is the best chiapino I've ever had in a restaurant. I like the fact that the flavors of the seafood are in the sauce. It's not a tomato sauce, it's tomato with the unique flavors of all the components in there. It's the most complex chiapino sauce I've had.
So Tadich Grill, I know it's a seafood restaurant, and I think a true mark of a restaurant is to try food that they might not necessarily be known for. So I actually had a steak. I tried a 16-ounce New York strip. It was aged 21 days. I mean, that steak was perfectly cooked. It was char grilled, nice char marks on it, and it was perfectly cooked. I asked for medium. It was medium throughout, and the taste, it was well seasoned. When I bit into it, you can tell it was aged, a little more complexity, and
You were pleasantly surprised.
It was probably my top 3 steaks I've had.
Wow.
Wow.
Ever? Or just in San Francisco?
I think in San Francisco, and it might be the top 2. So, yeah. And the great thing about Tadich Grill, they actually give you, they're not afraid to give you sauces. And I know, like steak purists, you shouldn't have sauces with your steak, but they have the A1 sauce, there's ketchup, and I'm not afraid to put A1 sauce on the ketchup.
We got our own booth, which was incredible, because it felt like we were in our own private dining room at home, and our server and other servers would come by with some frequency, not kind of sticking their head in, not trying to bother you, but you knew the service was always there.
Yeah, they have these booths that almost look like private rooms, and it's, when you walk in, there's the dark wood paneling, these booths. And one thing I love too is oftentimes there's coat hooks and hat hooks, and so you see all the coats hung, the mirrors, the Art Deco. You just feel like you're in another time.
For us, we had the appetizer, the crab cake, and the crab cake was the best crab cake we've ever had. Just chunk full of huge pieces of crab, a little crusting on the side, a wonderful dipping sauce to take the crab in. But just the physical size of the crab cake, I couldn't believe how big it was.
It's huge, and you don't find a crab cake these days that has that much crab meat, and also that's not just doused in mayonnaise.
No mayonnaise. Right. The menu itself is huge.
It is.
It must be like 70 to 100 entrees, meats, fish. So I asked the waiter, what do you think of this? He says it's fantastic. What do you think of that? It's amazing. And it got to the point where I was confused. If every dish is supposed to be great, it made decision making harder. So I just opted for the chiapino.
Yeah.
And I wasn't disappointed with that.
Yeah.
And it's a good place to sit at the bar, to sit in the, there's many different occasions that you can go to Tadich, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We saw on the menu they had an incredible listing of wine, no mention of beer. Right. So I had to ask, what beers do you have? He listed 3 or 4 beers on tap. Then he said 3 or 4 beers in the bottle, but no physical thing to review. So that disappointed me because I love pairing beers with food, and it just made it hard.
But
so
if you're a wine or a cocktail person.
I had a Bloody Mary instead.
Desserts?
Dessert. So I had the New York cheesecake. It was creamy. The crust was very buttery and just melted in your mouth, and it balanced all the really savory flavors I had, and that cheesecake just sealed the deal for me for that place.
The carrot cake is really what I love carrot cake, and it's hard to find a good piece of carrot cake. I don't know why, but it's moist, it's spongy. The icing again has that tang that you're looking for.
Was it expensive?
It's an expensive place, but what you get, the quantity, we had leftover food to take home. It is expensive, but the dishes we had were worth it.
All right, this is your spot. Wrap it up for us.
Tadich Grill is the heart and soul of San Francisco. If you want to step back in time and have the best bowl of chiapino on planet Earth, Tadich Grill is the place.
All right, and Carlo?
Tadich Grill. I think it's a slice of Americana. Definitely brings you back. I'm old school, and I know it's a seafood place, but go there for the steaks.
For me, kind of too extensive on the menu. It made decision making hard. But that said, best chiapino on earth, best crab cake on earth, go.
All right, if you would like to try the Tadich Grill, it's located on California between Front and Battery in San Francisco. The telephone number is 415-391-1849. It's open for lunch and dinner Monday through Saturday. Reservations are not accepted, and the average dinner tab per person without drinks is around $50. Pete's Smoke and Joint is founded on comprehensive research, which meant tasting a lot of meat across the country. And passion, lots of it. It's a family-friendly spot with an extensive list of local craft beers. You'll find it in a small Pleasant Hill shopping center at Slow Hand Barbecue.
This is where the magic happens. What I think makes Slow Hand Barbecue unique is that we are only a wood-smoked barbecue. The difference between cooking with the wood and flavoring with the wood. I believe that's a big difference. My name is Dan Franks, and I'm one of the owners of Slow Hand Barbecue. We do a dry rub rib, both baby back or St. Louis. It really kind of hails from the Tennessee, Memphis region. Our pork is Carolina style, mustard and vinegar. We do a chopped pork as opposed to a pulled pork. And those are really the styles that we really pull from, those three areas. From our tap rotation, it is all based on craft beer. And that is just better beer. Life's too short for bad beer. We started off as a barbecue restaurant with good beer, and we've become, to many people, we're a good beer place that has barbecue. And that's fine too. The pride I feel in Slow Hand Barbecue is that we are family and we put our best foot forward. But that's what it is. It's that I love being in business with my family. Philosophy here at Slow Hand Barbecue is first and foremost, keep it simple. Season simply, cook it well, and be friendly. Be really nice to the people that come in and spend their money.
Love you can taste. All right, Pete, you know your barbecue, don't you?
It's really hard to make great barbecue. You want it tender, you want it smoky, you want some level of spicing going in it, and you want to taste the meat. A lot of barbecue places throw sauce all over it,
right.
but at Slow Hand, the focus is on the meat, and it's just incredible.
And Chef Daniel really has spent time understanding barbecue around the country, traveling around the country.
He's traveled around the country.
And learning about different styles of barbecue.
But he also puts his own twist on things. On Fridays, he has a special. It's a smoked corned beef Reuben on marble rye with cheese. When you bite into it, it's juicy. The seasoning on the meat it's spicy, it's salty. The sauerkraut has acidity to it, so all parts of your tongue, the sweet, the sour, the bitter, all oozes all over your tongue. And it's like, wow, this is great.
What did you have when you were going?
I had the tri-tip. It had a nice spice to it. They didn't slather it with barbecue sauce, so the meat shined through. And it was spicy, but it wasn't overbearing. And the beer list, I love beer also. They had Pliny the Elder, one of my favorite IPAs.
Great beer.
Yeah, and so it brought it all together. And I'm glad the owner, he also worked in the beer industry, so.
That's right.
He knows his beer.
Yeah.
They have 12 taps, all kinds of styles. We had a porter and we had a Belgian Golden. Those are two beer styles that absolutely work. The beers have a focus on malt with interesting aromas, and the malt works with the character of the barbecue, with the smoke and the meat.
Well, we had a meat-tastic meal there.
That's a superhero, you know. Meat-tastic. It's like Captain Fantastic, but with meat.
Yeah, exactly.
Meat-tastic.
My husband is a huge barbecue fan. I love it too, but he's a raving fan. When the meats arrived, first of all, they were just beautiful. They arrived on this metal tray, and the vibe of the place is almost like a picnic. Yeah. And right when it arrived, we both instantly knew this was going to be special because you did not smell sugar.
Right.
You smelled the meats, the lovely flavors of it. And when my husband took his first bite of the ribs, we had the ribs. I thought I saw a tear coming down his face. he would not stop talking about those ribs.
It was a tear of joy, a tear of happiness.
Yeah.
Yes, the beet rings are there. All the things that you look for in barbecue.
And what about the sides?
The sides is extensive. Normally at barbecue places, you might have a really mayo-intensive coleslaw. He has a coleslaw that has no mayo in it.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's crunchy.
Perfectly. It almost enables you to just keep eating the meat because you feel like you just had a palate cleanser, a calorie cleanser.
The baked beans are incredible. The sauce he has on the beans, the texture of the beans, but he has big chunks of smoked brisket in with the beans. And he has a German potato salad, no mayo in that, a little vinegar. It's warm. So you get all these flavors and textures going on in your mouth.
Yeah, we loved the baked beans. One thing that I was a little disappointed with was the pulled pork. I love pulled pork, and I appreciate the way they did it. The sauce was just awesome. However, it was almost, I don't know if it was overcooked or if it was intentional, but it was almost too soft. I wanted to get more of the stringy meat pieces.
It's funny, I like barbecue, but I'm not a fan of pulled pork. But I like the Sloan pulled pork because the mustard vinegar sauce, it's the only meat he serves with sauce on it.
Right.
But for me, the vinegar mustard sauce made it work for me.
That's how my husband felt. My husband exactly felt that. We made little sandwiches, and he liked it.
We tried, actually, I was disappointed because they ran out of the chicken. And I love barbecue chicken, and it's a very popular item. That was the only thing about the restaurant.
Did you try the jerk chicken wings?
And so, yeah, those were, the jerk seasoning was so intense, but it wasn't overpowering. I mean, it was peppery, it had some kind of habanero kind of notes to it, but with the beer and the sides, it kind of...
The skin was crunchy on the wings, too.
Yeah. The hot links, when they arrived, oh my gosh, they were just so beautiful. They were like glistening, and it had a nice spicy bite, but it wasn't too spicy. Again, that balance, just this perfect spicy bite. Now, they serve two kinds of barbecue sauce, and usually I find myself using barbecue sauce, and I did not want to touch it. I know it's very good, it's homemade, but I just wanted the flavor of the hot links.
Of the meat.
The meat stood on its own.
And what about dessert?
I went for the key lime pie, and the intensity of the key lime in the pie was fantastic, but I just love the acidity of the key lime to kind of just bring your tongue back down after all the intense meat.
And it was the best key lime pie I've had since a trip to Florida 15 years ago.
That's a pretty strong word.
All right, Pete, this is your spot. Give us a quick summary.
Making barbecue is hard. Making barbecue is not only hard, but it's hard to serve it during the day in a consistent fashion. Sloan Barbecue has the best quality barbecue in California, period.
And Carlo?
Go for the barbecue, stay for the beer.
All right, Kristen.
If you want a man with a slow hand to make your barbecue, it's a country music reference, there is no better place than Sloan. They do barbecue perfectly.
All right, if you would like to try Sloan Barbecue, it's located on Oak Park Boulevard between Patterson and Putnam in Pleasant Hill. The telephone number is 925-942-0149. It's open for lunch and dinner every day. Reservations are accepted for parties of 8 or more, and the average dinner tab per person without drinks is around $20. During the hot fall grape harvest, we always joke it takes a lot of beer to make wine. It's thirsty work, and a cold beer is the ultimate refreshment. That's why Americans have long been drawn to the frothy beverage. In the 1870s, there were over 4,000 breweries in the U.S., and after a long decline, beer is back. Craft brews started to slowly take off decades ago, led by early pioneer Fritz Maytag. In 1965, he launched San Francisco's Anchor Brewing. Today, beer is wildly popular, topping 4,000 domestic breweries once again. I'll raise a glass to that. Cheers. Although Carlo hails from the Philippines, his pick features Vietnamese cuisine of the traditional kind, served up in a modern setting. A full bar and fresh ingredients make Oakland the destination at Tejo Oakland Restaurant and Bar.
Here at Tejo, we do a lot of street food and also a lot of food that a lot of places wouldn't serve, but I love to eat it and you can't find it anywhere else, so I put it on the menu. My name is Denise Nguyen. I'm the owner of Tejo Restaurant and Bar in Oakland. The drink here at the restaurant, I wanted something that would go well with my mom's food and represent something from my travel to Vietnam in 2012. So I made this drink up for my wife 3 years ago on her 40th birthday, and voila, this is a chili D, and it's been a favorite in the last couple of years. So Tejo means West Lake, and it's named after a lake in Hanoi, and is the heart of Vietnam. And we are located in the west of Lake Merritt, just like the heart of Oakland. Here at Tejo is a family business. I have my mom helping me in the kitchen, my brother, my little sister, the cousins, and my wife, Monica. And I really want to show them what Vietnamese food is about, and it's not about a bowl of pho every time you go into a Vietnamese restaurant. I do serve pho, but it's not your, you go in like, do you have pho? I'm like, of course I do, but I have other things too. And it's spicy food, and I just love the texture and the flavor of it all. That taste, it just is all so good. I love it.
All right, Carlo, this place has an extensive menu, doesn't it? And really traditional items. How did you discover it?
One time I was walking along 12th Street, which is one of the borders of Oakland Chinatown, and I found Tejo, and I walked in and became a favorite. I think like each of the restaurants we picked all have great stories, and I think that Tejo also has a great story. Actually, it used to be a Vietnamese restaurant 7 years ago. The owner, Denise Hune, bought it, and so she brought in her mother as the head chef, brought her recipes from northern Vietnam. She shows a lot of pride for a northern Vietnamese cuisine, and I just love just the vibe of the restaurant.
When we walked in and we were handed the menu was really overwhelming. And because a lot of these dishes I've never had, I didn't know what to do. And I thought to myself,
can't pronounce.
I can't pronounce. I don't know. You know, I was lost. And I just thought to myself, I don't know how this is going to go. And immediately, Denise, the owner, runs up to us. And it was like she took us on a cultural and culinary tour of Vietnam. She walked through the menu and she picked out the favorite dishes, and she weaved in the whole time the stories of her grandmother hand-making dumplings, her father's side, her mother's side. It was like when she walked away, I felt like, you know, I had just received an education.
Our experience was totally opposite. We had certainly a big menu. We didn't know what to order. We had two different servers, younger people come up, but no notification of any daily specials, and we asked what they recommended, and they had no recommendations.
I had the same experience when Denise didn't come over.
What happened was we ordered one of everything. No. There were four of us, but we ordered almost twice as much food just to try as many things as possible.
And what was a standout for you?
Oh, my God. Starting with the appetizer, the green mango salad. The texture was great. The mango melted on your tongue, and the flavor of the mango melted on your tongue. The vinegar-based, spicy, fruity sauce was drinkable. I mean, I was ready to pour it in a glass and drink it.
One of the things that Denise prides herself on, she tries to source everything locally, which is really strange for a Asian restaurant. She goes to farmers markets 2 days a week, and she supports local farmers. So that freshness that you taste, it's from Northern California. My favorite dish is called a banh cuon. It's a Northern Vietnamese specialty. This dish is actually an homage to the crepe. So they have this rice wrapper that's made of fermented rice batter. They put a cheesecloth over a steaming pot, pour the fermented rice batter, and it coagulates. So that becomes a wrapper. So that's for each one, they have to do that. So very labor intensive. They put minced pork, earwood mushrooms, some scallions, and they wrap it really tight. And then you just dip it into the sauce. It's called nuoc chum. You dip it in there and then you bite into it. It's just umami bomb in your mouth.
Umami bomb.
I had two dishes that I absolutely loved. One of them was the Hue dumplings. I will think about those for the rest of my life, and I will keep going back there for those dumplings. They're made of a tapioca flour, and so they're very chewy. I thought that was going to be off-putting, but when the dumplings arrived, they were so colorful and so beautiful. The pork inside was just perfect, juicy. There were hot red and green jalapenos swimming in the fish sauce. So when you take all these different flavors together, it was incredible.
Another umami bomb.
Umami bomb.
For us, the incredible dish was a coconut catfish. It comes out in a coconut that's been shelled. Beautiful presentation. And the catfish had big chunks. When you ate it, the catfish literally melted on your tongue. Just disappeared like chocolate would disappear on your tongue. The flavors, everything was triggering well.
I agree that I had that as well, and I thought that the catfish was cooked perfectly. I wasn't as in love with that dish simply because it was a little sweet.
Before I forget, I just have to mention one more dish. I have to get this out. We got the fish lettuce wraps. And the presentation was just incredible. A big platter of big fried fish balls, and they tasted great. On literally a boat-shaped platter, they had folded lettuce wraps. They were huge. Then they had other vegetables. They had a sauce, a pineapple anchovy sauce. The only problem we had was when you put the fish in the wrap and put everything on, you took one bite and it splattered all over.
That's why you need a good beer afterwards.
One thing we haven't said about this restaurant is when you walk in, you might expect a traditional Vietnamese look and feel, but it's actually a hipster joint. I mean, there is a bicycle that's hoisted up on a beam.
All right, this is your spot. Give us a quick summary.
All right, so I'm going to put it out there, but I think best Vietnamese food in the Bay Area.
Bam.
Bam.
All right, Pete.
This was absolutely the best Vietnamese food we've ever had, Bay Area or anywhere. I would recommend that you ask for the owner, Denise. We didn't have the experience that you guys had, but with a tour guide, it would make it so much more better.
All right, and Kristen.
Tay Ho is a cultural journey through Vietnam. Just make sure you get the owner, Denise, as your tour guide.
All right, if you would like to try Tay Ho Oakland Restaurant and Bar, it's located on 12th and Webster in Oakland. The telephone number is 510-836-6388. It's open for lunch and dinner Tuesday through Saturday, lunch on Sunday. Reservations are not accepted, and the average dinner tab per person without drinks is around $20. I want to thank my articulate guests on this week's show, Kristen O'Brien, who counters the technology revolution with a step back in time at her San Francisco landmark, the Tadich Grill. Pete Schlossberg, who relaxes with a brew while appreciating the long, slow smoke at Sloan BBQ in Pleasant Hill. And Carlo Medina, who toured the town to find fresh Vietnamese dishes and a full bar at Tay Ho Oakland Restaurant and Bar. So join us next time when 3 new guests will recommend their favorite spots right here on Check Please Bay Area. I'm Leslie Sabraco, and I'll see you then. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Did you have fun? So now it's your turn. We want to hear from you if you visited any of our Check Please restaurants. You can post a selfie on Instagram, join the conversation on Facebook, and tweet us anytime. And don't forget to visit our website. All the shows are there, along with my wine videos and notes about the wines we drink on set. You'll also find our fun new web series, Taste This, where we celebrate food and drinks around the Bay. Cheers.
Check Please Bay Area is made possible by the members of KQED and by IRG has in-trend surfaces, quieter marbles, and rare exotics. Over 10,000 slabs in stock today. IRG in Brisbane and Dublin and at marblecompany.com.
Mattress systems from European Sleepworks, working to improve comfort and wellness for over 40 years. At Adeline and Ashby in Berkeley. Online at sleepworks.com.
Oakland International Airport. Now with flights all over the world. iFlyOAK.com.
Sutter Health CPMC, 7,000 employees, nurses, and physicians caring for their communities every day. Your city, your hospital. CPMC2020.org. La Tour Angèle Artisan Oils, French-inspired and handcrafted in Northern California. La Tour Angèle creates natural, healthy cooking oils that add new flavor to everyday dishes.
Total Wine & More offers more than 8,000 wines from around the world and more than 2,500 beers, including hard-to-find seasonal brews and imports. Now open in Mountain View, Pleasant Hill, and Fremont.